So there's been a lot of changes. But before we get into that, hello. My name is Amanda, and today I'm going to musically analyze a One Direction album. I'll give you a little intro with what I knew going into it, and then I'll timestamp each song and talk about how different instrumental and vocal aspects make me feel and how they potentially hint at what was going on behind the scenes. What I do to prepare is get a little silly and listen to each song twice, making notes, recording observations, feelings, etc., and then reporting it back to you. Huge disclaimer, the claims that I make in these videos are entirely speculation, and I don't do any further research into them because who cares? It was literally so long ago, and it's none of my business. So, where am I? When I last recorded that video, literally years ago, that was in Brooklyn. I have moved. I am now in a house where other people live, so I will be recording shorter segments over the course of several days so that I'm not entirely a hermit and socializing with the people that I live with. The setup is also clearly different. Hello, it is not just a white wall. I also have a microphone. I've leveled up slightly. I spent $30. Look out. Insert famous YouTuber name here. Got a tiny little light that's not as aggressive as my happy light. We're leveling up slightly. So there's that. Another thing I want to mention is I had recorded so much of this video beforehand, years ago. And I deleted it because imposter syndrome, and it felt like it was cringy and embarrassing, and I was like, there's no way anyone's going to watch this, but I deleted that footage. And so several things are going to be interesting to re-talk about, and just a heads up, advice, if you ever feel like, this is embarrassing, I should delete it, don't. Future you that wants to get back to that project won't appreciate it. The Notebook, remember the first video? I don't have it anymore. I'm going to use this as a prop and pretend to read from it. So just suspend your disbelief. Next time, it'll be real. Yeah, let's revisit this quarantine creative project and keep it moving in the year of the Christian Lord 2024. Let's do it. So the first thing I want to say about this album is that I never remember the name of it. Literally just saving that intro, I almost put the wrong title. Never remember the name of it. I always want to call it Live While We're Young, and that's just not it. But to be fair to me, the first album was named after a song. The third album was named after a song. The fifth album was kind of named after a song, and the fourth one was An Omen. So this being titled after a lyric in the second track throws me a little. By the time I had discovered One Direction in the summer of 2012, they were already pretty deep into recording this album, and everything was happening so fast, and since the guys themselves have talked about it, I feel justified in criticizing it. After this listen through, I might have some understanding as to why they rushed it, but that does not mean I agree with it. Anyway, I remember listening to this album in November of 2012. I have a specific memory of Barack Obama being reelected, and I was in a college dorm lounge listening to One Direction. So, priorities. And at the time, I only really could say I liked 5 or 6 songs, but that was enough for me to admit that I thought they were cute now because some of the music was actually good. Catholic guilt will give you some interesting reasoning skills. I was 21 years old and I still did not feel like the target demographic, but there were 5 songs that I really did enjoy. Live While We're Young, Kiss You, Come On, Come On, Heart Attack, and I Would. Uh-oh, she didn't say little things. We'll get there. So let's make a move and talk about Take Me Home. Okay, getting into Live While We're Young, what I seem to think is the album's titular track, I want to talk specifically about two writers who I believe their names are pronounced Rami Yacoub and Carl Falk. These guys are huge songwriters. If you look them up, they've written for everyone. Last album they wrote on What Makes You Beautiful, I Wish, and One Thing. And I guess the immediate financial success of One Direction had them coming back for more. They write like 6 or so songs on this second album. I'm going to talk about writers more on this album because this is where we begin to see not all of the guys writing all together. And I feel like that's interesting on how that might contribute to in-group dynamics. Or maybe it doesn't at all. I will continue to repeat, I know nothing. So my first note here, in the notebook where my notes definitely are and not in a Google Doc script, is that Rami and Falk are back at it again with the shitty bop. Which, by the way, happens to mash up with Kesha's Die Young pretty well. I will have that linked in the description or whatever. I immediately recognized the fucking cowbell. Rami and Carl love a cowbell. I don't know. But I have an exclamation point in the notes, which are definitely on this page. So I think I was excited to hear it. There's a really sick guitar and bass drums, and the guitars like kind of harmonize. It's quite nice. Then I've got, hi, Louis, in the chorus. I was excited to hear his voice so prominently, so early. I really love the sound of Louis Tomlinson's voice. The instruments play the verses melody in the back of the verses and in the bridges, and I think it's a really nice touch, probably more so interesting in the bridges themselves, but that's minor. Not literally, because the song's in D major. There's a drum roll into the chorus, to which I said, fuck yeah. And the harmonies are certainly there, but the music is louder than the harmonizing. When I got to the first bridge, in the second listen I wrote, Harry? Because I thought maybe it also might be Zayn. Which first reminded me that a couple of these kids are still like in the throes of puberty. And second, it's a foreshadow for a lot of this album. As I speculated in that last video 800 years ago, they are spending so much time together. And when you spend a lot of time with somebody, you pick up on different habits, different expressions, and their voices really start to sound the same. Which, like, cool, but also it is harder to tell them apart in the songs. Oops. Niall still sounds so sweet, and the high drum they put behind him is N-O-I-C-E, noise. So the second chorus drops, we get the last line, and then there's like a swoop in the music, and it goes into like this gorgeous floating pitch. It's in the background. If you listen closely, it is sick. Do you remember the attempt at choreography here? I don't know if I do. I think I did see this music video, but like, I think only once, because again, I was 21. No one was sneaking me out of anywhere. And it was, as the kids would say, cringe to be liking boy bands. But was it ever socially acceptable to like One Direction? Like at any age that you were or any stage of the group? Is there anyone out there that didn't get made fun of for liking One Direction? Is that another video entirely? Anyway, the song is truly so fun, and I was jamming, and I made a little note. I miss my boys. Kiss You was written by Rami and Carl and about 10,000 other people. People in the business are fully invested in One Direction. They want in. The hook is, according to the notes, fire as fuck. Sure. Anyway, the hook lies under the entire song, And there's a syncopated version that lies under the chorus, and it slaps. The fast drums are sick, and especially the drum roll into the chorus. We love a drum roll into a chorus. Yes, give me that anticipation. And maybe I was just, feeling a little silly, but I feel like the song sounds like it has different tempos depending on what instrument you listen to. So like if you listen to the hook, it's a jam, right? Do 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 do. But if you're listening to the drums and the high guitar, it's like again, it could have been just on a different plane. It's like an illusion of it being faster, and I think that's very smart. Everything is mixed really beautifully, though, as you might have guessed, I want to go a little higher on the harmonies. And I have to go through the archives of tumblr.com, but someone posted them singing the chorus and dropped most of the instruments from the background. I'm going to put it in the description box, okay? You go listen to that, and then you can come back here. Are you upset? Because I'm upset. It's a few clap moments that I think are super cute, and after the second chorus, there's another silence into a swoop. And I think there might be a light ah behind Louis' feature. I wonder if all the high notes in this song are Zayn, because it feels like maybe at least one of them could be Louis. I think it's also worth noting that there is a roughness in Harry's voice and in Niall's voice. They are tired. But yeah, I took a third listen to this one because it has always been one of my favorites. Far unlike the next one. I hate little things. And hear me out. I think it's because at the time I was old enough to know better. This is a tree. Sorry if it keeps bouncing. My leg is on it. So last video I talked about Bo Burnham's song Repeat Stuff. Is Bo Burnham bad now? I forgot to pay attention to celebrities. In the song, it talks about how boy bands are super vague about what their dream girl looks like so they can appeal to the maximum amount of 8 to 16-year-old girls worldwide. And Little Things is that, but I think it's grosser because it's about your insecurities. This song refers to the listener thinking of themselves as fat 5 fucking times within the span of 1 minute. It was a lot for a 21-year-old overweight me, and it's a lot for 32-year-old obese me. Side note, yeah, I made those statements based off of BMI, which actual doctors that pay attention know is bullshit and is a tool of white supremacy, so you can check that out, or I can include that in another video someday. Comment. If this song really helped you love yourself back in the day, then I love that for you, and you should be really proud of yourself. However, from a production standpoint, I think it's a really, really grimy move. Because again, I keep repeating, at this point, it really seems like One Direction, as proved in lyrics in other songs on this album, is really being marketed to 8 to 16-year-old girls. And you know how early a girl starts to be insecure about how much space her body takes up? It's as young as 8. Meanwhile, the women that these guys are dating in real life at this point are no bigger than a size 4, if I'm being generous, which is not one way or the other. You know, the entertainment industry is when it comes to body size of women, but it just comes off like hypocritical. You feel me? Repeat Stuff has a really powerful line that I'm going to read now. I'm in magazines full of model teens so far above you. So read them and hate yourself and pay me to tell you I love you. And to me, that pretty much sums up Little Things. And it's not like a song like this can't be worthy. The harmonies throughout are gorgeous. And I do like that it's kind of musically simple because it provides a more intimate setting for the message. But if you listen to Louis Tomlinson's song Perfect Now, I feel like that song is everything that Little Things should have been. This song is also an example to, I'm sure, me and me alone, how Ed Sheeran would write songs for One Direction that he knew he couldn't get away with. I'll talk more on that later in the album, but let's get into this album's longest song. Great. Also, I'm not gonna pretend to read from this book anymore. Just, we'll have to wait till next video so I can, show you notes and be cute about it. We're not gonna pretend here. You can unsuspend that disbelief now, I guess. Words are hard. So I mentioned at the top of the song that the guitar is really cute, and I wrote, "Go Niall." And then Zayn starts singing some actually very cute lyrics, and Liam comes in with, "Hey, you don't like your stomach or your thighs. Did you know your back has fat on it too?" All within 17 goddamn seconds. Sir. The harmony in the chorus is very pretty. And of course, everyone's voices sound beautiful. And I know that sounds like I'm complaining, but I just hate this song. Second verse, Louis comes in and sounds so cute. And then Harry charges in with, "Hey, you don't like to know how much you weigh, and you're squeezing into those jeans, huh?" Again, within 5 seconds. It's a lot. And then the lyrics say, "But you're perfect to me." Now, I once had an English teacher, and shout out to the English teachers, keep pushing why those curtains are blue. And that English teacher stated that every single word that gets put on a page by a writer is there on purpose. Your writing goes through so many drafts and so many edits from yourself and other people that every word on there is intentional. So the use of the word "but" here instead of "and" doesn't make me feel nice. And would feel like this is just one of the things that they love about you, and they love you for it and because of it. Saying, "But you're perfect to me" comes off as I know society thinks you're gross, but not me. A boy who answered your Twitter question once. Buy all 4 of our perfumes. Why did they have any perfumes? So it's either that or the music, again, was so rushed that they didn't think to consider how this would emotionally affect their core audience over time. So yikes either way. Niall then sings something kind of sweet, but not super healthy. There are some people who are just dedicated to not caring for themselves, not loving themselves, and staying in this sort of negative energy. And if that is bringing you down with them, then it's really important to establish boundaries. I have some knowledge about stuff like this. That was a very expensive piece of paper, and I'm going to show it whenever I deem it appropriate. He also does this little vocal trill, and I'm like, hell yeah. The final chorus is so gorgeous, and Louis is just holding down this melody. The harmony blend is just where I like it. I just wish the lyrics weren't shit. Now, Come On, Come On has been one of my faves from the beginning, basically. And also, coincidentally, happens to mash up well with Kesha's Come On. I don't have a link to that, I just know. Mashups were really big in 2012. I thought about it a lot. But this is one of those songs where I can't really tell who is singing or if everyone is featured. The only singer-related note I have is Zayn going off in the final chorus. Like, I know that's him. And I wrote, Zayn, yes, with 6 A's and 4 S's. Most of my focus here is on the instruments behind the song. Like, we've got some refined space noises, as I call them. The bass line is great. And once again, sick electric guitar and bass drum. I try to imagine what a music video for this would have looked like because I get very like Metro Station Shake It vibes from that first chorus through the end of the song. During the bridge into each chorus, I think the synth like slides up the octave, like a I don't know if that's the right key, but like it's cool. It's a nice touch. They play with a lot of subtle stuff in this song, like the hook is in the second half of each chorus through Oz. Like, ah. And then there's like floating pitches around Zayn's bridge. Again, very nice touch. The syncopation back into the chorus after that bridge is so cool. And there's even a really good fast shaker. If you don't know why that's worth noting, please refer to Moments in my Up All Night video. And even though the harmonies are just I gave this one a third listen because it's such a sweet little tune. For whatever reason, I remember Last First Kiss being faster. Like, I don't know why I had a memory of it being like ba-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, because I remember that being one of the reasons I didn't like it. So when I came back to it in 2022, I was pleasantly surprised. This one is written by Louis, Liam, Zayn, and 5 others, including Rami and Carl, who I guess I'm on a first name basis with now. The song is actually super fucking sweet and mixed and blended beautifully. But the first note that I do have here is they are pushing poor, tired Harry. These harmonies sound really good, but almost like a pinch overproduced. I know I can't be satisfied, but it comes back to like I can't tell them apart in the harmonies, and maybe that's on purpose. Remember, I know nothing. This song almost sounds like it was written for a movie. Like it's got these drums that are really powerful throughout, and also the electric guitar going down the scale several times throughout the song. Like it's very, very sweet. For Liam's bridge, my OG notes read, "My religion is Liam's falsetto." And based off of the definition of religion, I stand by it. And then Harry, he was saving up his energy for that line right there. He sounds incredible. There's this thing they say a lot throughout the song. They want to be your last first kiss, like they want to be with you forever. But then they say they want to be the first to take it all the way like this. Like what? Do you see how I don't think this was marketed to 21-year-old me? Who sees a guy wanting to make his sexual debut with me and be with me forever as like unrealistic? Even if the message was, I want you to be the first person I open my heart to, like the older you get, the less charming and cute it sounds. Just me personally. What do I know? So this note, muted silence, drop, bam. So under Liam's gorgeous falsetto, the instruments are kind of muted. Harry annihilates us in the silence. And then the drop is, it's big. It's really nice. The undertones are also really, really lovely in the end, and I gave it a third listen. Heart Attack is a song that I genuinely play a lot in my post 1D adulthood, so I don't have a lot of notes about it because it's basically like embedded into my DNA at this point. The drum beat is really cool, and again, we got a sick bass and electric guitar. And it had me wondering at this point if they ever toyed with the idea of being a real band. Because I think most, if not all of them, at this point could at least play keyboard and guitar like a little bit. And they wouldn't be the first band ever to have all of the members have solo features. But again, it's just an idea I like to imagine. This time I note this instrument as Rami and Carl's fucking cowbell. So I guess I wasn't into it here. And there's almost like barking noises or like warped O's, like oh, oh. Like I cannot put my finger on what specific sound that is. The high harmonies reign in this one, but I note that I miss being able to distinguish who is who within the harmonies. I'm going to break off from One Direction a little bit to explain my personal relationship with harmony. So if you want context as to why I'm like searching for this perfect blend, if not, feel free to skip to the next song, which is a doozy. Okay, for this section, I'm going to talk about a band called Hanson. So before I really get into it, I want to clarify that this is a band that I was a huge fan of from 1997 till 2020. And sometimes it's hard to talk about because there were a lot of very, very low points in my life that I decided to stay breathing because of a Hanson song. But just, they have songs about being like, you know, the time has come to stand up and use your voice and the world's on fire, shout it out. And then in 2020, perhaps around June, if you recall, there came a really, really big time to stand up for justice and to use your voice for what was right. And their silence was really deafening. And they've also made some remarks that just don't feel right for me anymore, ideology-wise. But if Taylor ever went solo, I would be back. That's why I still have this shirt. Also, this shirt is super cute. But just like, I can't seem to be fans of hypocrites. And I don't know if I want to go super into that. But like, I hope you know what I'm getting at, I guess. So, how does this affect my relationship with harmony? So if you have never heard of Hanson before, here we go. They became a big, huge hit in 1997 with their song Bop, which perhaps you've heard before. They were children at the time. I believe Isaac was 16, Taylor was 14, and Zach was 11. They are all brothers with the last name Hanson. That's how they got the name. They met really early on, you know? So they were suddenly very heavy into the music career. Suddenly, you know, the girls screaming at incredibly loud decibels. Does this sound familiar? And they did 2 albums with this specific record label, but they weren't jiving with them anymore, so they became independent. So a lot of people think they were a one-hit wonder with MMMBop, which absolutely no, they were not. That was not their only hit from that era anyhow. But they basically, from 97 till, I think now, I haven't been keeping up with them, but I think even till now, they've never stopped making new music. They started their own record label. They decided to do what they wanted to do. They knew it was risky. They knew it was going to cost money, but it meant a lot to their craft. Now, from the time that they were, you know, of speaking and singing age in their homes, they would harmonize together. They'd sing together and they'd harmonize together. And so what I'm used to hearing from them live and on the stuff they recorded is an equal blend of all three. Of course, they would have like a lead singer usually doing, verses, whatever in the song. But three is a magic number, but there's like always just like that perfect, like equally sounded harmony. I could tell Isaac's usually the low part, Taylor's usually the middle, Zach's usually the high part. Literally been that way since they were children, and Isaac and Taylor were going through the throes of puberty. And so that is like my ideal blend, is not just what I hear live when all of their microphones are equal and not being shut off, but I want to hear that on the record too. So it doesn't sound like we're pushing one particular member of the group over any/all of the others. Another thing I want to mention about Hanson becoming super famous when they were children is, I believe at the time their managers were their parents, which can go so wrong in an abundance of ways. But I do remember they were, approached to do a lot of different things. We want to have Hanson toothpaste, Hanson lunchboxes, maybe we do a Hanson TV show, blah, blah, blah. And their parents were like, hey, no, our kids they're kids right now. So we're not going to do all of that. We're going to let them do the music, what they're known for, what they actually like to do. And maybe that's relevant to this conversation. Maybe it's not. I know nothing. No intro for this one because I hate it. I honestly didn't want to talk about this song. But it's just like irresponsible not to, I guess. But this song and just even like talking about it gets me upset. And it's not so much the song itself, but like the history of the song and which specific fans really loved this song. So first things first, one of the writers on this one is Dr. Luke. Yeah, that Dr. Luke. So with the lyric, do you remember Summer '09? With, in a song written in 2012. You want to just think for a second about, I don't know, perhaps a particular woman who worked a lot with Dr. Luke and how her life was going from 2009 to 2012. Okay, we're gonna have that thought. And then we're going to let it pass because that is not even the grossest thing about this song. Like, I can listen to old Kesha songs and have a wonderful time with them. But the real reason I despise this song is because it was taken as an anthem for the absolute fucking worst subset of One Direction fans. And if you don't know what I'm talking about yet, congratulations, you live a better life than me. This subgroup of fans identified as Larry's, just saying it makes me want to throw up. This group were convinced, on like a QAnon level, that Louis and Harry were in a secret romantic and sexual relationship, and that it was being kept a big secret by management. And they were so aggressive about it. Like, this question got asked in real life One Direction interviews.
Harry, I've got to ask you about this one. This is Famous Magazine. This says you and Louis are a couple. There's pictures of you kissing.
Jesus. That's just weird. That is Photoshop. That is Photoshop.
Now, here's something that I hope we have grown and changed and sought therapy and realized this, but in case you're still, for whatever reason, hanging onto this boat. The harassment of it all? Absolutely unfucking called for. I don't care if they all got down with their bad selves before every single show. It was never any of anyone's business. Okay? Just think for a second about someone you were friends with, or maybe had a crush on, or maybe just was a co-worker with when you were 18 years old. Now imagine millions of people around the world yelling at you that you must be fucking that person. How utterly humiliating. This group of fans was so fucking intense that band dynamics shifted drastically. Like all of the rest of the guys could play around and be all butt slappy with each other, but God forbid Louis and Harry even look in each other's direction before the rumor mills started flying off. And they were, from what I understand, such good friends, and their voices sound so wonderful together. Especially in this song, where these fans would change the word rock in Rock Me to... Oh, they just make me so upset. And the more that the suits of One Direction tried to work around this, the more I speculate, that this was really the first nail in the coffin of One Direction. If I was more qualified, I would talk about the effects that toxic masculinity has on all this, but I'm tired and it's none of my business, and can we talk about this song and get over it, please? The few things I will say is I have Get It, Louis, and whoever's harmonizing with Louis is doing really well. And Niall in this chorus is sexy with 5 X's and 3 Y's. There's a really cool low harmony in the chorus, but then they have a spelling bee and it's weird. Some One Direction fans speculate that Louis did not have more prominent features in the albums going forward because of the effects that this song had on the worst fan base to ever exist. I don't know if that's true. I don't think it is. I'll try to pay attention as we go further along. But I don't think that's correct. If it is, we ride at dawn, but I don't want to put on my armor, unless it's proven true. Now, moving into Change My Mind, I gotta tell you, I don't know why I didn't like this song when I first heard it. But I suspect, and I'm being fully serious, no sarcasm, that I wasn't emotionally ready for it. This song reaches this gorgeous level of intimacy that is really hard to describe, but let's see what Buzzed Me thought about it. So the first note is that the writers is Team What Makes You Beautiful, and that I kind of get Taylor Swift Love Story vibes, and it starts with this guttural guitar that gives me campfire vibes. I say vibes a lot, relax. And that Louis sounds so fucking lovely. My next note is, wait, is this really sweet? Because like I said, I remember not liking this song. So Under the Influence Me is having an experience. The bridges leading into the chorus have this twinkling star effect. It's magical. There are beautiful high notes in these stunning harmonies, particularly starting with Liam in the first chorus. Though at first I accidentally wrote Louis, oops, they all sound the same. There's a lovely use of echoes and a bass drum that turns me into the heart eyes emoji. And then Harry, oh, sweet goodness. He is really coming into his voice. And it feels like watching one of my former students graduate. I am so proud of how much all of my former students have grown since I had them in about the 9th grade. And part of that pride is like knowing how little I mean to them in the grand scheme of things. But I'm also so grateful for the place I had in their life for that short period of time. Does that make sense? The chorus harmonies are stunning. And yes, I know I already said that. That's how good they are. Some electronic music is blended in really well, and I think there may be some subtle strings. But we get like 2.5 minutes into this 3.5 minute long song. And you hear Zayn start to do some riffing, like implying that he's gonna sing for a second time, but there's someone at this point that we haven't heard from yet. And I write in my notes, I swear to God if Niall doesn't sing. And then he does, so crisis averted. I remember at the time there was this push from the fans to let Niall sing more, because if you don't recall, Niall's lack of features on the first album is so jarring that it led to a worldwide fan-backed movement. But since it seems to me, full speculation, that we're like trying to gracefully guide this boy through puberty, that the features he does get on this album are like 8 seconds long, and you will be satisfied with that. Anyway, I got lost in the sauce daydreaming during this one, which warranted the 3rd listen. So fun fact, at some point in my life, I knew the entire chorus of I Would in American Sign Language. I've completely lost it now, unfortunately. But I did go out of my way to learn. So that, good for you, 2012 Amanda. They all feature in this song, and therefore, I am in love. So because I'm like a huge dork that thinks she's cute, when I listen to this, I kind of sing like a call and response thing. I'll probably link an actually private video this time of me singing it if you're interested. Again, it's really just me being a deliberately huge dork. It's got the cutest guitar and the bass drum and the bass, like the bass guitar bass. Wow. There's space noises in here that actually work. And this song would be so good if they danced. The chorus has what I've apparently called jock jam noises. And Impaired Me also seemed to notice a cowbell with an echo on it. But I think you have to listen like real close for that one. The claps during the second verse are rad, and the whistles are super cute, and I am so in love with these harmonies. I made a note about like the power of a synth, and the guitar that comes in during the second half of the choruses is really nice. Now this entire bridge is fucking fire. You start off with Louis harmonizing with and Zayn coming in every now and then to give you a little preview of what's to come, but you're not ready. And Harry comes in to slow it down for us, quiet it down a bit. His voice and the pitch behind him are so soothing, inviting you to relax, so that what happens next gets you so fucking amped. I wish I still had the old notebook to show you that I wrote in all caps, fuck us up, Zooey. This Louis and Zayn feature is so fierce that you forget that they're not friends anymore. Like, both of their voices are so powerful, and if they danced, this would be the dance break of the ages. Yeah, the harmonies are so fucking good that I praise them again. This one's just so freaking fun. My first note on Over Again is, oh yeah, I remember the words being weird. So this is where I, again, fully speculate that Ed Sheeran wrote this. And if you'll recall, at this time, he as an artist is pretty up and coming too. Read through this and went, yeah, this is dumb. But One Direction could record the ABCs and make like $7 million. So they're cute enough to get away with it. Weird lyrics aside, this one is one of their best. My next note after that is Niall, though, because it's so gentle and he's so lovely and singing about a candy. Just use different words, Ed. You're better than this. And you'll never believe this, but I love the harmonies. There's a gorgeous cello and a very pretty touch of piano and a soft guitar in the chorus. And at the end of the chorus, they do something I absolutely adore. They go from harmonizing to singing in unison. And I mentioned this in the song I Should Have Kissed You in the last album, that brings such a vulnerability to a piece. And like the five of them singing all together, truly all together. Fun fact, when a group of people sing together, like a choir or a boy band, because they're breathing at the same times and singing the same words, their heartbeats sync up. And that's perhaps one of the causes of such strong bonds between groups of performers. Like, I know I felt it with every singing group I've been in, every play or musical, that our hearts were all in the same place for a magical period of time, however finite. Anyway, that's probably unrelated. Back to the song. Louis' voice on this is 10 out of fucking 10, and they give him some stupid ass lyrics. Showers that are British? Fuck you, Ed Sheeran. But like in the rest of his verse, his accent is so fucking stunning. His voice is so unique, and no, I will never get over it, okay? And then we get, praise be, another Liam falsetto section. Then we get to the ending chorus and we have these like gorgeous background ahs and a really deep drum that like crescendos and then it drops so that the voices are more the focus. And on my second listen to this song, I really didn't take any notes. I got choked up. I held back tears listening to One Direction's second album in the year 2021. They just all sounded so good together. And I miss when they were friends, which is such an interesting, like, human emotion to me. Because, like, they certainly have no idea who I am. And I certainly know nothing about their past / current / never friendships. And so, like, it's never been any of my business. But, like, that's just the power of music, man. On to Back For You. This one gives me vibes of, like, Vacation by the Go-Go's. And it gives me the same, like, on Disney Channel vibes as a lot of the stuff on the first album. But honestly, it fucks. Writers of this song include all of the members of the group except for Zayn, which is curious. Side-eye. But I honestly do not know the reason for it. My next note, Louis is so good. Louis is so good in this song that I noted again later saying, hell yeah, Louis. I sometimes wonder in these videos if people can figure out like who my favorite was at the time. Would it fuck you up if I told you it wasn't Louis? These harmonies are, shocking, gorgeous. And the synth and the drum machines give it a really hopeful sound. Like it almost feels like a love letter to the fans. I think I can hear Niall in the chorus, and he is good. And like when the bridge brings in these strings and like the military style drum, like they fucking understood the emotional assignment here. I love this song, and I really hope they closed concerts with it because it's so perfect as a finale. In the last line of that bridge, I exclaimed, "Harry!" But it might be Zayn, because if it's not, then is Zayn not featured in this one? Side-eye. Again, they sound very similar to me, so I don't know. I have to stop slouching. Be a professional. Stay in frame. They Don't Know About Us gets my mind a-racing. The song begins with like a soft R&B piano vibe, and then I got Zayn's Comin' stuck in my head. And so I was like, oh my gosh, did Zayn write on this one? And as it turns out, no. And there's no connection here at all. But I just thought They Don't Know About Us and There Ain't Nothing Common About Us sounded similar. So in that first verse, we get gorgeous echoes of a talking about, and a cello comes in, and there's this very unexpected drum roll into the chorus, and what? I had to pause the song because I was so, as the kids used to say, shook. Like, they could really do anything. Genre, whom? One Direction could do it all. The harmonies are they are frickin' astounding. And these strings, hello? All of the background oohs during Louis' part are so iconic, but you do have to listen really closely for them. And in a stunning turn of events, we get double Niall. As I stated before, we're getting him in these like 8-second intervals. So to have him feature twice on one song, it was a pleasant surprise. So what I originally intended to be the final song of this video, because there's so many songs on Take Me Home, is the last actual song on the Basic Bitch edition called Summer Love, which all of them wrote on. Weirdly enough, Under the Influence Me was not into this song, but Sober Me thinks it's cute. I do have difficulty distinguishing who is singing when, so that was probably why. There's a very sweet guitar, and it sort of gives American country music vibes. There's some strings in here, and perhaps a banjo, maybe, if you listen closely. Some parts of the song, I guess, gave me Coldplay vibes, and these harmonies. And then the song ends, and it kind of leaves you wanting more. Like perhaps to buy the expanded edition with 7 extra songs that I guess I'm going to talk about. If anyone knows why they made these separate editions, like, I really do not get it. Because especially at this stage of the internet, it was really easy to share songs that weren't, like, accessible everywhere. So what was the point of 2 separate editions? So, like, although they could be accessible anywhere, I did not hear the next 7, I think. Gosh, there's so many songs. I didn't hear these next 7-ish songs until I decided while I was editing this video originally that I was like, I probably should listen to them. So 2022, nearly a decade later, was the first time that I listened to these next songs. And initially, before I deleted it, I had a clip of me, like, currently under that influence and talking about how, like, I didn't know what I was feeling before I listened to these songs, but I was feeling it a lot. And I'll record these another day in another outfit. So I was upset that these were kept from me for so long. So let's go. Let's do this. Let's go crazy, crazy, crazy till I grow up someday, I guess. You know, a lot of things have changed, including the scenery in this video, but the hair, she stays struggling. Now, where were we? Oh yeah, this song I hadn't heard until 10 years after the album came out. My first listen through to this, I just sat stunned, jaw dropped, complete silence for the whole first verse and chorus. And then I just yelled. I'm not going to yell now, people are working. But I yelled, Jesus, fuck. This song, I'm mad about how good it is. Everyone's fucking voices on this sound so good. Louis is so cute throughout, but especially in the beginning where he's like counting us in, like, hell yeah. This one gives me beachy vibes and keeps them through the whole song. If you wonder why that is worth noting, please see Annie song from my last video. The lyrics are a little here and there because, like, why are we focused about what this woman is wearing, Harry? Where are we going with this? And I had to giggle because I noticed a cowbell. They love a cowbell, and I don't know. The harmonies in this chorus are so fucking cute and almost theatrical, and I want them louder. And sometimes when I say that, what I really mean is I'm upset that I never got to hear this live, and I never will. There are so many beautiful elements in this song that blend together so gorgeously. The bass, the drums, the claps, the harmonies, the sick guitar. And there's even like some cool beeps, like leading up into the bridge. They kind of sound like, let's find out, shall we? Okay, listening to that again, I have no idea what I was talking about, but in like the little sections right before the chorus, those are definitely harps, not beeps. And then in like the bridge, there's like a video gamey, noisy beeps. I'm a professional. And I know it sounds stupid, but it really does fit in so well. And then everything goes kind of quiet and acoustic around Zayn, as it damn well should, to which Buzzed Me wrote, "What is so much happening?" Sure is. I thought it was super cute that, like, one of my suggestions in the first album was to, like, go up in the second verse, just to give it a little variety. And they do that in this song. And you know what that is? Growth. This song feels like it could be written for a movie, and the dance competition kid in me can easily imagine an incredible routine to this. And it also just sounds like the beginning of their real voices. And just, why did they hide this? Why is the first time I heard this song in April of 2022? And almost a decade later. But Rock Me got to be on the main album. God damn it, man. If I had heard this sooner, I probably would have gone to concerts sooner and seen Zayn perform live more than once in my life. But, you know, no sense of regrets. The past is done. Is this my new favorite One Direction song? It might be, because it got the third listen. Loved You First starts off kind of similarly to Usher and David Guetta's Without You, at least to me. And then it also kind of has Taylor Swift love story vibes again. And I just gotta giggle at the line, kissing you on the mouth. Like, we're marketing towards teenagers, not children. We're kissing on the mouth now. Ooh. There is a sick electric guitar in the chorus that's very like 80s hairband. And I kind of, you know, again, I'm giggling this whole section. I'm giggling because it's another two genre song. And this was a huge issue I had with the first album, is that so many of the songs were like, the chorus was one genre and the verses were another, and they weren't like super cohesively stuck together. But this one is a little smoother. I definitely like it significantly more. The drums throughout are so fucking cool. And the harmonies, I know, but there's a difference for me between like hearing everybody blending together, you know, as five voices doing, 2 to 3 harmonies typically, and one person's voice elevated higher and the rest kind of being reduced to backup singers. You feel me? Am I making sense, or am I just the most unqualified, nitpicky harmony bitch that's ever existed? I really love that they're ending a chorus in unison again. Like, oh, I live for the vulnerability. And Niall, in this bridge, young man, sweet precious child, the gall, the audacity, the nerve, and the gumption to be sounding like this on this song. A boy. And then Zayn immediately after, my first listen through, I applauded. Is so good. Why is it on the bonus tracks? Song feels like it's another one of the songs that actually like meets the emotional requirements of the lyrics. The sound in Nobody Compares is kind of classic and kind of has me imagining One Direction as a, quote, real band again. I'm kind of thrown off by that first line initially, but I am once again giggling at the "you're tearing me apart" art. And if you get the reference of this shirt, then you know why I find that line to be very funny. Fun fact, I wore this shirt to my first One Direction concert, and I made a couple of really other cool adult friends who are going to One Direction concerts in 2014. This song sounds kind of like Stand By Me, and the drums are, as usual, sickening. The harmonies in the chorus, I know, louder please, but this is like a really good song. I think I liked it more under the influence than sober, but I still agree with the note. Still good. Why did they make these really great songs less accessible? Pourquoi? I note on my first listen to this song that Niall is just shining like a motherfucker. And it wasn't until my second listen through of track 16 out of 20 tracks on this album that I also remember this is Braces era Niall. So like, not only is this boy navigating puberty and a voice change and recording stuff all the time and constantly touring, but he has metal in his mouth. Legends only. Legends only. So once upon a December 2012, there was a pop-up 1D store in Manhattan, and this was kind of just around the time that I was allowing myself to admit that I thought they were cute. So I got like a bunch of friends together, and he was like, we'll take the train, we'll go into the city, we'll go to the store, and then like we'll go to Rockefeller and we'll go ice skating. We'll make a whole night about it, guys and girls, just like a trip into the city in college for funsies. And we didn't end up ice skating, but we did get, our Rockefeller tree pick, and we saw people, somebody get engaged on the ice rink, so that was kind of cool. But we're in the One Direction store, and I did happen to buy a poster and a calendar, and if I can find photos of them, I'll put them up here. But something so peculiar about the poster specifically is they edited out Niall's braces and made his teeth look really weird. And why would they do that? Like, they weren't a secret. The braces were not a secret. They made him look worse. Why would you do that? Why would you do that to my sweet boy? What do I know? At this point in the album, I'm just, there's so many fucking songs. And I prayed a little bit. I'm like, can I at least have one that, like, I don't like? And be careful what you wish for, because this next one really follows through on that. Still the One was written by the What Makes You Beautiful team, plus Liam and Louie and Harry. And this song is kinda yikes. And like, of those three band members, I have not heard them write like this in their solo stuff, particularly when it comes to speaking directly to a woman. So I don't think they're the ones who are the issues here. But again, I know nothing. I don't know. This one is another classic sounding, beachy, sock hop kind of song. And the chorus is like jazzercise, which is fine. The genres aren't a great match. I do happen to notice that all of the bonus tracks here end very similarly. So I don't know if that's why they got scrapped to the back. They also have very prominent deep drums too, but I might just be way too deep down this One Direction rabbit hole. This is another song where Harry also sounds kind of tired. Now to get to the gross stuff. Let me just read you some lyrics. You might have moved on, but girl, you should know that I know you're still the one. I know I say it too much, but I will never give up. This is after a verse that states that he was the one that left you. So you were together, he broke up with you, you were, I imagine, pretty sad about it, but you moved on now. You're with someone that makes you happy, and now this man is yelling at you that you're still the one? You know, now that I think about it, this is like the song Take On, but like from the other perspective, right? Like, yeah, you're the person that goes, who do you think you are? You only want me because I'm Take On. More lyrics. I keep talking, begging. Tell me what I want to hear. Yeah, girl, just tell me what I want to hear. If you heard this conversation happening out on your street, you'd be like, yeah, that's harassment. What doesn't help the song's case is the shouting. Like, imagine you are with your current partner, just out in the street, whatever, with your current partner, and your ex is yelling, hey, you're still the one. You wouldn't like that, right? So why are we allowing it from One Direction? With Truly, Madly, Deeply, I also realized that a lot of these songs on the bonus tracks have titles of already famous songs. So like Truly, Madly, Deeply is the iconic Savage Garden. Magic and Irresistible are pretty popular song titles in 2012 right now. Still the One is a famous Shania Twain song, and Nobody Compares is close enough to the iconic Prince / Sinead O'Connor song. So I start playing this song, and it's Hey There Delilah. I get kind of weirded out with like the tree branch metaphors in the first verse and Niall's word in the bridge. I also noticed that Niall's voice is doing so much throughout this album, and I wrote the literal range, but maybe also navigating the voice change. It's clever. Like Niall on these tracks, and Bend the Rules 2020 Niall, because I haven't listened to the show yet, okay? I'm getting to it, we'll get there. But those two voices are so different, and Niall's voice at every stage is so enjoyable. I did pause the song while listening under the influence because the chorus was just not doing it for me. It's just like two dudes singing the whole thing in unison. I'm like, I don't love this song, but it's still pretty cute. Then I've got a note that says, "Go off, Zayn." And on my second listen, I noticed that I have not said anything about Harry or Liam in a while, like in a complimentary way. And I wonder if it's just like, I'm just used to their voices after, 18 tracks in the first album, and we're on 36 songs. Am I just used to them? So I try to listen more closely for them for the rest of the album, and I'll do my best to do the same on these other albums moving forward, because everybody's good, and I want to give everybody credit where credit is due, and move my hands in ways that are off-putting to others. Gotta listen real closely for the harmonies in this one, but I do note that Harry and Louis blend so well together, and that Larry's ruined everything. Ugh, I hate saying it. I hate even saying the word. I have another Louis with 2 exclamation points. Don't know what it was about, but I agree. At the end of the song, it tends to sound a little more American country, particularly in the drums, which is an interesting twist. Now, when I said I had never heard any of those songs before, that was a little bit of a lie. I had friends who were very into One Direction at this point and really, really enjoyed this song, Magic, and I love it too. It's so cheeseball, but I have this note that says, I fucking love this dumb song. I also like that at this point in One Direction's career, the What Makes You Beautiful team is still writing songs as if they are going to ever do impressive choreography. Like, so many of these songs have such great dance potential, and we know they're not going to dance. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Also, including a cowbell, what is the fascination? Not certain if there's a low harmony in this song or if it's just an instrument. So guess what I have to say about it? As a wise woman once repeatedly said, gimme more. This happens with a high note later in the song, like I can't tell if it's a voice or a synth. They blend the voices and the instruments a lot on this album. I don't love it. I do really dig the drums throughout the whole song, and I had a question about the guitar behind Liam's bridges. Didn't write what the question was, but it's enjoyable. These writers also love to take these songs on a dynamics roller coaster, so it's very high energy, and then we get a silent moment, and then we build back up. 10 out of 10. It works every time. I'm not mad about it. The warp on Niall's voice here, clever, I guess. The ending harmonies of the song are really nice too, but I wish they weren't warped. And finally, my God, the last song on this crazy long album. Irresistible is written by all the guys, plus those McFly guys that I've definitely heard of and whose music I've definitely listened to. The guitar hook is gorgeous, and it reminds me of Wake Me Up When September Ends by Green Day. I feel kind of iffy about the bass drum in the beginning, and LOL, there's a shaker. I describe Liam as very smooth in this song, and the harmonies are really gorgeous, but it's hard to describe the sound of this one. Harry and Louis blending sounds really nice, but the words... Let's talk about repeat stuff again, shall we? Here's repeat stuff. I love your hands, 'cause your fingerprints are like no other. I love your eyes and their bluish, brownish, greenish color. I love it when you smile, that you smile wide, and I love how your torso has an arm on either side. Now this is One Direction. It's in your lips and in your kiss. It's in your touch and your fingertips. It's in all the things and other things that make you who you are and your eyes irresistible. It makes your lips so kissable and your kiss unmissable. Your fingertips so touchable. And your eyes irresistible. Hit the nail on the head there, Bo. But this song is overall super beautiful, especially in terms of harmony. The auto-tuning of Niall is a little too obvious. The second bridge comes around, and now I'm actually really digging how the bass drum fits in along with the cymbals. I don't know who's doing these O's in the final chorus, but other than that, I do notice that I can distinguish like who is singing in songs kind of towards the back end of the album, whereas like come on, like pick a name out of a hat, sure, I guess that person's singing right now. I have no idea. The song also fits really well as the ending track to the album. Okay, conclusions. They are doing so much. Chris Kirkpatrick revealed in the documentary The Boy Band Con that one of the hardest parts about his sudden transition out of being in a boy band was the sudden lack of structure. So he remembers waking up in a hotel room and having a schedule slid under your door that's like, all right, we have this morning radio show, and then we have this television performance, and then we have shooting for this music video, and we have a photo shoot for this, and we have filming and dance practice for that. So to look back on these kids who are younger than Chris Kirkpatrick during his time in NSYNC, it's interesting to reflect on like the throes of that. And you can hear it particularly in the youngest one's voices. Side note, it's interesting to refer to Niall and Harry as like the youngest ones, because I think Liam is like literally weeks older than Niall. But he like seems older, and I don't know what to make of that, and maybe it's none of my business anyway. What I think is maybe behind the suits of One Direction rushing all of this is like fear of losing relevance. Like, you know, they were so popular in the X Factor, it's like, oh, we better keep going because that people might forget they exist. And this is kind of like the blossoming age of like 2012 of the internet, where there's, you know, like a new meme every week, you know, and the internet's kind of fast like that today. And I could see why they didn't want to wait for everyone to be fully matured, though that sentence fragment sounds gross. There's different ways they could do this, right? Like, we're hearing these vocal changes throughout the album, but I don't know, maybe there was a television, like, reality kind of aspect to the X Factor, and I know that sounded stupid, but, like, weren't they in a house together or something? I never watched it. But they could have kept that going for a little bit, like, sort of like a making the band situation, except the band's already made, the training of the band. So that, you know, they weren't navigating all of this really awkward stuff at the end of their adolescence while being on tour, while recording a trillion new songs every day, while having to do all these appearances, while having millions of people scream in their faces about their personal lives and all of their decisions. Right? And if I can be a little dark for just a second, I think we're all very fortunate that none of the members of One Direction are part of the 27 Club. On a lighter note, I'm really, really pleased that I liked more of these songs than I did in college. It was a really unexpected surprise that as I got older, more One Direction songs spoke to me. I'm very glad for it. Thank you for listening to me babble for so long. I will see you next time when I actually became a fan and we make some midnight memories.